So Canada announced our new carbon dioxide emission targets today. By the year 2030, that is 15 years from now, according to the federal government, all man-made activity in Canada will emit 30% less CO2 than we did in 2005, 10 years ago. So even though there's more Canadians every year, and we're wealthier every year, each one of us, we do more things, we drive around more, we're more comfortable, somehow we're going to reduce the amount of CO2 we breathe and emit so much more behind where it was in 2005. Obviously, it's not going to happen, just like the last 10 climate treaties didn't happen. The Kyoto Protocol, the Copenhagen Accord, the Rio Accord, they're named after all these luxurious resorts where environmental lobbyists and diplomats get together. Why do the Conservatives do this? Well, they do it for the same reason that every other politician does. It's good PR. Jean Chrétien actually did sign and ratify the Kyoto Protocol almost 20 years ago, but he didn't actually implement it. If you look at the graph, carbon dioxide went up over the term of Jean Chrétien and Paul Martin. That didn't stop him from taking credit for signing the thing. You see, it's a whole industry of people who claim to care about CO2, even though it is not pollution. If you were to tell me that we were going to reduce the amount of particulate pollution or smog or dirty water in Canada by 30%, I'd cheer. But CO2, that's another way of saying plant food. I want to show you some of the reaction to this announcement today. I think it says a lot of who actually cares about this fake issue and who doesn't. The first two are Twitter tweets from two registered Canadian charities. One's called Environmental Defense, and the other's by Dan Wojnielowicz, who's worked with the Tides Foundation and now one of their projects called Clean Energy Canada. So these are charities taking charitable money that they don't pay tax on, as if they're some food bank or orphanage. But instead of spending the money on food banks or helping orphans, they spend it on political attacks. Look at Dan Wojnielowicz and Environmental Defense attacking in a partisan way the Conservative government. Those Twitter tweets show that only environmentalist fundraisers care about carbon dioxide. No real people do. The third is more disappointing. It's Andrew Leach. He's a professor at the University of Alberta of economics who understands oil sands pretty well. Look at his tweet. He says this is Stephen Harper letting down Alberta and the oil patch, giving it a black eye. It's hard to understand what he means, but I think I know. He's saying by not being more aggressive with our carbon dioxide cuts, we are hurting Canada's reputation, and that means that maybe the Keystone XL won't be passed. Well, of course, the Keystone XL has been blocked by Barack Obama for more than 6 years, long before this announcement on Friday. Does anyone actually think that Barack Obama has been waiting at the White House to hear what Leona Agluka, our environment minister, has to say about carbon dioxide in the year 2030 before he makes his decision? Does anyone in the United States actually consider anything in Canada when making domestic decisions? Have you ever heard of Barack Obama considering any other domestic policy in China, in India, in Brazil, even in Russia, when making infrastructure decisions in the United States? It is vanity and solipsism for Canadian pundits to say, oh, Barack Obama is hanging on our every word, that's why he's not for the Keystone XL pipeline. No, Barack Obama is just beholden to environmental groups, and he prefers OPEC oil. It's that simple. I once spoke to John Baird, who used to be the foreign minister for Canada, and he volunteered to me that after Canada withdrew from the Kyoto Protocol, not a single foreign diplomat, and he met hundreds, ever raised the issue with him. No real countries raised that Canada pulled out of the Kyoto Protocol as some sort of diplomatic embarrassment or black eye, as Andrew Leach would say. It's just not real. The only people who pretend to care about it are pundits or environmental fundraisers. It's certainly got nothing to do with Barack Obama's decisions on pipelines. There is one country, though, that is doing very well on its carbon dioxide emissions. That country's North Korea. They have a very small ecological footprint. They don't have a lot of cars. They don't even have a lot of food. My friends, that is what low carbon means. Low life. For the Rebel.media, I'm Ezra Levant.